Welcome back, guys. This is Ibrahim Qureshi here, and today we are going to continue the topic which we are looking into, which is VMware Update Manager. And I have obviously prepared a demo for you guys, and let's get started. So thanks a lot for your comments. I just wanted to remind you that if you are first of all, please subscribe to me if you haven't done so, and when you're doing so, make sure you hit the bell icon and hit all so that you get any new updates from me directly to you when I'm posting new videos. Okay, so let's get started. So agenda for agenda for today is the configuration side of the VMware Update Manager, which is how to configure your VMware side of it. Obviously, then we'll go through download the updates, like what are the process of downloading updates. There are a couple of scenarios which we can go through. We can have your vCenter itself having downloading the updates automatically, but if you are in an organization where you are restricted to there are restrictions for your vCenter to reach out, you can have a VMware download service server installed within your organization, and you can get all the vCenter's contact to this update download server and pull the logs from there. Not logs, sorry, pull the updates from there. And then obviously we have we can also download the ISO to the update manager, and then we can roll out the new installation of ESX. So if you have 6.0 running, you can obviously update the ISO with 6.5, and you can roll out the entire update from 6.0 to 6.5 itself, and it's quite easy enough to do it. Maybe we'll do a session on that as well. Comment down below and let me know if you want me to do that. Okay, so then basically these things are, once you have configured this and you have obviously got the updates and stuff, so these are behind the scenes, because obviously you only do it once. And then the main thing is, obviously, whenever you are starting to look into update, you create a baseline or a baseline group. So that's the main thing, and then you attach that baseline or the baseline group to a cluster, and you scan it, and then you review your scan baseline to see how much of it is compliant and how much isn't, and then you stage your patches from there and then remediate. So let's dive a little bit deep into this again. So just to remind you, VMware Update Manager is a built-in tool with vCenter server since 6.5. Obviously it is automatically enabled. You don't need to do anything to enable it. The note which I want to say is it's important to understand any patches you're installing on your ESX environment, so you need to read the release note before you're deploying anything like that. Okay, so configuration side, as I was discussing earlier, configure the update manager download sources. So the sources obviously are, first of all, your vCenter goes out to the internet and pulls it from VMware repository or third-party repositories, from shared repository, which I was talking about. The VMware download service is an option for you if you have restricted environment where your vCenter is not exposed to the internet. And the third and final option is you can download the patches manually from VMware and then upload the important patches and extension. When we talk about VMware Update Manager, it's not just VMware patches we deploy using this. You also install I wrote PSEK, but it's just PSE file, pack file, which is important to understand because it could be update for your storage really, or a new driver for your storage, or new drivers for your FNIC, or like if you're running a Cisco environment for your network drivers or anything like that. So those can be incorporated in the configuration, and those are called as extensions. And also you can update zip files as well. Okay, so next part is download the update. So how do you download the update? So by default, obviously vCenter itself has quite good mechanism to reach out to the updates, reach out and pull the updates. So download the host patches and extensions. By default, as I said, the VMware Update Manager contacts VMware or third party and gather that information. The metadata information. So the metadata information could be so this is a patch, which version of ESX does it apply to, what is the date the patch is released, and obviously those sort of information which is around your patches, which is around your data. Okay, so next we can look into, again this is optional, if you do have a older ESX environment which is like 6.5 and you're running 6.7, you can have you can import an ISO of 6.7 to upgrade your old ESX host, and that's easy enough to do. You just click on the tab, browse, and then you install it. Really simple as that. No, you upload the ISO, and once it's uploaded you can select the ESX and then remediate it as we'll go through in the demo. Okay, so you create the host baseline. You must first upload the ESX 6.7 ISO image to the update manager repository, as obviously I studied here. Okay, so we were talking about baseline. What is baseline? So first step is create a baseline. Baseline contains a collection of one or more patches, extensions, service packs, bug fixes, or updates, and can be classified as patches, extensions, or upgrade for the baseline. Okay, and there are two types of baseline. One is a generic baseline, or we can have baseline group. So a baseline group basically can have other things like other patches included in that baseline. So you can have a baseline group, and then in the group you can have ESX patches, you can have your storage drivers for maybe power path or something, or you can have your ESX host physical server network drivers if you need to update the network drivers for the host as well. If you're upgrading firmware, it's always suggested, best recommendation is to upgrade the drivers when you're upgrading firmwares, and you can tie these two together as well. Okay, so next one is attach a baseline to object. To use baseline and baseline groups, you must attach to a selected inventory object such as container object, virtual machine, or host. Now interestingly, it says container objects or virtual machine or host, so you can have a baseline created for VMs as well. So say for example you want to deploy VMware, you want to remediate VMware tools to a bunch of hosts, so you can use Update Manager to do that. So that is why you can have a baseline for VMs, and then obviously when you're updating hosts you can have a baseline for host. So that's why I mentioned VMs there. So sixth point is scan the vSphere object. So you have created your baseline. Now we don't know exactly how updated are you or how behind are you. To find it out, what we have to do is you have to scan it. Scanning is a process in which attributes of the set of host or virtual machine are evaluated against all the patches, extensions, and updates from an attached baseline or a baseline group, depending on the type of the scan you selected. So obviously you need to say baseline group and then you scan it. So next, review your scan. So then you find out how much of your environment is compliant and how much is non-compliant, and again this is defined by the baseline or the baseline group, as I was saying. So next stage is you can stage these patches. Now this is an optional step, you can stage it or not, but it does make your process of patching a lot quicker. If you stage it, what happens is the patches are downloaded to the host and extension. So you can see here, as you can stage the patches and extensions before remediation to ensure that patches and extensions are downloaded to the host. When you start remediation, it just starts deploying it, but you can stage it. That means you are ready to go. You know what stuff is missing. You have done your homework, you have done the scan, you have reviewed your scan, and you've seen what is missing, and then you basically stage it. That means you are downloading those patches to the host. Okay, and then as I said, it's an optional step and can reduce the time during the deployment. Yeah. remediating the patches. So obviously once you have staged it, then what you can do, or even if you don't stage it, you can directly remediate, which means obviously it will download the patches first, then remediate. If you have already selected staging and you have done that, then it will remediate it, which means deploy those patches. Again, remediation is a process in which Update Manager applies those patches, extensions, or updates to the host or virtual machine after the scan is complete. Okay, so that's how it is. And again, don't forget, obviously once that's done, the host gets reboot, and the patches which you're deploying will say specifically that it will require a reboot if it does, and if it doesn't, then it will say it doesn't need a reboot. But as always, I would say, because you have to put it on maintenance mode anyway, you need to make sure you have time to restart. You have time to reboot those machines. So let's let me show you a quick reference which I used. So this is on VMware website. This is for VMware vSphere 6.7 about the update manager process, and basically you go through these steps how to deploy the updates. Obviously I'll post a blog about this as well on I'll post the information on my blog as well, which I always do. I hope. Sometimes I forget it, but yeah, I'll definitely do for this one. Okay, so this is my lab. Again, you guys are familiar with it. So this is running 6.7. The vCenter is running 6.7 update 2, but what we are doing is we are deploying a patch to a host. So to do that, basically when you at the home, you'll see a button, a tab called Update Manager. So click on Update Manager, and then you'll see this is the Update Manager page. So over here on first instance, you can see that there's a baseline which is created. So let's go through one by one. So monitor, basically it shows us any events or notification around Update Manager. Now these are the baseline which I was talking about. So you can have a new baseline, and so these are the testing which I have done before. So this is back in September when I created a ESX 6.7 September 2019. So always name it properly so that you know what it is. So the best thing to do is I always put a date and I will say update till here. If you have updating baseline, then it becomes hard, because then you lose the track of where you are with each patches and what you have already rolled out as well. So that's one thing. And then you have updates. So this is where you basically download the updates. So as you can see, patches downloaded, latest download is 14 hours ago, so it has been done 14 hours ago. You can also upload a file on your own, and these are the patches. You can see the important patches and critical, yeah, so you can see all of them, and they also say bug fixes, enhancements, and then at the same time you can see here which requires reboot. It says specifically reboot, maintenance mode, and reboot over here. Yeah, so this is the thing I was saying. And again, also it says version 6, so it is applicable to version 6. So download now, you can click it, and then it goes ahead and checks whether there is anything else. Yeah, it has done downloads. And is there any new ones? I don't think so. So that's how you check it as well. Now this is the bit which you are saying on the third step, where you can import an ISO. It's pretty simple. You just click import, browse, and then basically let me find an ISO. Maybe it's in temp. .7, and then I select the ISO which I want. It is this one, and then it basically uploads it. So if I did had a 6.0 ESX, I could use this update manager and deploy 6.7 on there. Or if I have a 6.5 running, I can do the same. I can use this option, and then I can deploy a new version. Okay, it should go pretty quickly because it's quite local to where it is. So in 1 minute this will be uploaded. So that's pretty much covers till this step which we were doing, which was, hang on, let's go back here. I want to go and show you on this one. So that pretty much covers us till here, which is download the ISO and update the host. So now what we are going to do next is create a baseline or a group of baseline, and then we'll see how to attach it, and then scan, and then we'll review it, and then we'll stage it. I'll show you how to stage and remediate. So we are comfortable with all these things. It was pretty easy, right? Obviously. So this is why essentially they are only 6 steps. If you count, it's from 4 to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. These are obviously there, and you need to do that anyway, but let's see. So we are here. Okay, so that's added, getting added to the repository now. As you can see, it's saying adding to the repo. So hopefully maybe I'll do another session where I can install a 6.5 and then I'll show you how to update it. There you go, that's there now. You can see it there. Okay, and there are some settings as well, so we can obviously check where we are. We can, again, there's a download here and upload here, so you can basically upload. If you don't have internet facing vCenter, or you don't have a mechanism, then you can download those patches on a USB, scan it obviously for antivirus or anything, and then upload it manually. Okay, so let's get started. Let's create a baseline. So let's say new, and then you get 2 options. Obviously you are creating a new baseline here, so I would stick to what I have here. So I would say ESX patches 6.7 and then the date. So let's do that. ESX 6.7 underscore, it's 19th of Jan when I'm doing this video, 2020. Yeah, and then we can say ESX critical patches. So I'm going to only do critical patches. Now this is the important thing. So you can say whether it's an upgrade, which is basically you need to select the ISO, which I have done, which I have uploaded now, or if you're doing a patch baseline, which I said patches, then I say patch, and then basically the option changes here. As you can see, if I do update, the options is select the image and summary, but I say change it to patches, then it says select the patches automatically. So we'll go next, and then I can define which patches I want. So I would say I want all critical patches and important patches. Yeah, and then I would say I need for 7 and 5, maybe I have a 5 in my environment, and then I would select VMware only. Yeah, and I'll leave this selected to any. So if I select next, so these are all the patches, and then select next, and that's it. So this is a patch baseline for 19 January for important and critical. So say finish. So that's your new baseline created. Let's do a quick one. I don't as we uploaded the ISO, I'll do one for this. Upgrade to 6.7, and then we select upgrade ESXi to 6.7, and then you select next. You have your ISO uploaded, which we just did. You select next and say finish. So I have one which is for updating it. If I do have an older environment, then I can use that and update it, and I have one which is for the latest patches. Now there was another group baseline. Yeah, so what I can do now is I can create a group baseline, and I can say patch upgrade and patch. So whoops, 6.7. so I can say next. I can say first upgrade to 6.7, yeah, and then I can say once upgraded you can patch it, and then if there is any extensions they will come up here and I can select those extensions. Obviously I don't have any, so that's it. So that's a group one, so they can you can easily differentiate. This one says group update and patch, so it basically will update your ESX from 5.6.5 to 6.7, and then it will do the patches. So guys, I'm conscious of the time as it's gone over 20 minutes already, and I was planning to do this all in 25 minutes. I guess obviously there's a lot of topics to cover when it comes well, when we talk about update manager, because there's so many things we can do. We can obviously, there is provisioning for remediation of VMs as well, which we didn't discuss. So we can obviously take snapshots and remediate tools and stuff like what we do with host. We can do certain things with here. A quick one which I basically noticed while I was going through this video was on this particular one, we basically set the date, which is 19 Jan. If I edit this while creating the baseline, I didn't notice this, but obviously later on I went in and put a date which is 19th of Jan 2020. So, and also it says on or before, so any patches which is on or before 19th of Jan, which is today, are going to be inside this one. Okay, and again when we are if you click next, you'll see all the patches which are there, and then next, and then finish. But when we are doing a new one, you will get to see it when you click this, and then you say for example 19th ESX patches 19 Jan. We are just redoing this to show you really, and then some description which is same again, copy and paste. So here it is. So this is what I was talking about. So basically click on this, and then we say 19 Jan, and you get any patches released before 19th of Jan 2020 will be in there. So then in this way you will be in track of where your patching schedule is. Maybe next month you decide to do 19th of February, or maybe you decide to do quarterly and you do it in March, and then you can name it 20th of March or something like that, and then you know exactly where you are standing. But if you don't do that, then what will happen is it will become a updating profile, and then you can't track which patch level your host are or stuff like that, which can create problems. Okay, so that's about it. I think I'll wrap it up here. So in next session we'll see how to attach a baseline to your demo cluster, and which is easy enough to do really. All you do is click on your demo cluster or any cluster which you have. You can add baseline directly to the host, so you click on the host and then click on update, and then basically go attach baseline and attach it here. Or if you want to detach it, you can select it and detach it here. So I do have one already attached. Let me detach it for you guys so I can show you. Detach this. So to attach, again what you do, select the cluster, go to updates, and if you want to attach the entire cluster, which makes sense because you can see compliance and everything as well, you select attach baseline, and then you select which one you want. So maybe you'll select just this patches one and then say attach. So there you go, that's how you attach it. And now at every level of the host you will see that baseline attached here and here. Okay, so let's start doing remediation of the patches on the next session, guys, because it's quite late now. As always, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. I would love to hear back from you guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to get back to me. So yeah, enjoy watching and keep sharing. And this is the reference for the material which I have picked up from VMware. I'll create a post on my blog as well around this. Thanks, bye.